It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no risk. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and there are don't dictate.
Oh, yes, indeedy. Welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm Xander Gibb.
And I'm Tyhe. Hello.
Coming up on today's show, we will be breaking down some of this week's hotter topics. And in part two, Juan and Patrick from Two Dads for Kids will be dropping by. More to come in a mere moment. You can interact with us during the show in the chat room at the bottom of the show page. Keep scrolling down. Now, if it won't let you make comments, that's because you have to join with either Facebook or Twitter, which is very simple to do. Do that, and you can get in on the conversation, too. You can call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or on Twitter, you can tweet us. Yes, we are really high-tech here. My Twitter handle is at XanderGibb, XanderGibb, capital X, capital G. And Tyhe's Twitter handle is TYHEPAULEGAR, capital T, capital P, capital E. Don't forget the all-important @ symbol. Now, Juan and Patrick, his Twitter handle is at JuanLuke. I will spell it for you, JUANLUQUE. Tweet me or Ty if you are too shy, and we will endeavor to make your point for you. How's it going, Ty? How has your week been? Anything interesting happened that you would like to share with us?
It's going very well. As far as sharing, just in the interest of sharing and honesty, I've put £2 on because I've gorged on chocolate this week. There you go. Oh, hysterical cackling. Did you hear that?
Wow. I don't know. I think I've got to the stage with my diet, because I'm doing really well. I've lost quite a bit of weight. That I don't weigh myself as often, because I think some people become very, what's the word I'm looking for, obsessed with the weigh-in part of it. And the exciting thing to me is being able to see my body changing. I mean, I have a waist. Can you believe it? After all these years, I actually have a waist forming down there around my midriff, and that's kind of good enough for me. Because I don't know about you, but I have this ideology: the slower you lose the weight, the longer you keep it off. Do you think that that's true, or is that just a misconception?
True. No, it's absolutely true. You're looking fantastic, and I've only put £2 on or something. I'm just sharing that in the interest. I mean, I'm being a little sarcastic. I shouldn't really. I'm sharing that in the interest of openness and honesty with our listeners, because I'm always going on about weight. Because I had to have meetings this week, and we had and one of those, really, mind-numbing days where food was provided. You go to these things and seminars and things, and the food that's provided, they're not really thinking of health. It's all carbs and sweets. And I just went berserk, basically. And my trainer this morning just looked at me, shaking his head in dismay, and lecturing me quietly. And I just said, I don't care. Pass me the chocolate. So.
Well, I hope you've saved some for me. I really do, because I like chocolate, but I have to really be in the mood for it. But what I've conditioned myself to do is, I know I'm going to pig out on the weekend, and I always know that I'm going to do that. So I tend to try and fill my refrigerator with things that I can pig out on without kind of feeling bad about. Because if you pig out on healthier stuff, I mean, I'd be a liar if I didn't say, I have the odd big pack of chips. But I just think I'm not a nun. I don't look like a nun. I don't act like a nun. And I don't get none most of the time. But I'm trying hard with lots of aspects of my life to kind of improve myself. And I think that we expect perfection from ourselves far too often. That's not that we shouldn't try hard, but, let's face it, neither you or I, dear, are ever going to be perfect, are we?
Well, no, practically. I did think of changing my name to Poppins, but apparently Disney object. But no, I'm not going to be perfect. It's not possible for me to be perfect. The universe will be afraid. But who wants to be
very
perfect?
Afraid.
I don't want to be well, very afraid, yeah. But who wants to be perfect? Well, I'm sure there are those weirdos, aren't there? Botched is back on. I'm sorry, I'm plugging Botched again. So I'm obsessively watching that. That always cheers me up. That just lets me know that there are more freaks out there than me. So I'm happy about that. But,
are we talking about that plastic surgery show?
Yeah,
right.
It's back. It's fabulous. I can't stop watching.
What about that
guy?
I
don't like reality. The Barbie? I was just like, I don't like reality.
All that money
TV.
looking like, trying to look like the Kardashians. I mean, why would anybody want to look like the Kardashians? Tell me, why?
I have no idea. I thought they spent a lot of time trying not to look like themselves, but who knows? Because the guy as well that spent all the money, he's a German guy, spent all this money, he spent hundreds of thousands of euros or dollars or whatever, trying to look like Justin Bieber, and it's terrifying, really, because he doesn't look anything like Justin Bieber.
I saw that.
He look well. He might look like Justin Bieber after a car accident, I suppose. But
I heard
scary.
there's a guy in. Go on, sorry.
No, that was it. I'm just saying it's car crash TV. Do you know what I mean? You just get pulled in, and I'm sat here with. Maybe this is why I put 2 pounds on in weight. I don't know, because I'm just sat here watching it, and maybe I'm just eating things I don't know I'm eating, and I can't stop. What?
Apparently, there's a guy in Frankfurt who's spending thousands of euros trying to look like me, and he spends a lot on food, and his name is Augustus Gloop. But we won't go there today. We won't go there. I'm actually, you've known me for over 25 years, and, I've always kind of struggled with my weight. And this kind of breakthrough for me with regards to getting healthier has not really been about eating less. It's been about eating differently. And it's been about taking certain things out of my diet. And that cleanse that I did, I used to poo-poo people that said, "Oh yes, darling, I'm going to do a cleanse this week." I'd be like, "What? Go forth and multiply." But the cleanse really is what set me on the road to eating better. And I just think that what works for you, and it's not going to work for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Juan is going to he's going to struggle with my accent. Apparently, he's in the chat room. You'll get used to it, Juan. Don't worry. It grows on you. But it is. Yeah, I've never done a detox. Well, I stopped drinking for 3 days in a row. Does that, if that counts? But I've never actually
drinking
done a cleanse.
Drinking what, though?
Well, alcohol, anything. Well, spirits. Who knows? I stopped taking LSD for 5 days. It's anybody's
no,
guess.
you can't do that. You can't deal with real life. No.
And I never said I dealt with reality. I just said I stopped taking LSD. Anyway, most people, including yourself, will contest, will confirm that I don't actually deal with reality on many levels.
No, definitely not. Not without medication. No, hell no.
Not without medication. No, no. And indeed, I don't. I am still medicated. Juan is catching up. He's getting he's getting the accent. I'll slow down, Juan, when it's your turn. Don't worry. I've never done the cleanse. I've never done the cleanse thing, and I've just stopped eating rubbish. But occasionally, I think there's nothing wrong. Chocolate's a good thing.
Absolutely. I think if you want some, you should eat some. And they talk about this, moderation. What the hell is moderation? Is that eating one family bar instead of two? You know, what is moderation? Everything
Just
for
take the
me
one
is
man to bed.
excess. Yes, exactly. No, why take one man to bed when you can take 5? No, I don't.
Well, you know what I mean? Depending on whether you have a headboard.
Obviously, for our sponsors listening, we were talking about if you're going to buy a bed, you should get as many men to test it out, just to make sure that it is okay. So I just wanted to point out for people. Obviously, I'm joking. The Juan that we're referring to is one of our guests that are going to be on in part 2. Juan and his partner Patrick Duffy, not the Dallas Patrick Duffy, but they're going to come on and talk to us a bit about their life. So one thing that really jumped out at me this week in the news, Ty, I don't know if you saw it, but I don't know if you saw the Disney cartoon Pinocchio, or Pinocchio as they call him here. But a 22-year-old was hoping to leave from Mallorca on a Jet2 airline from the UK, but was left stranded because the airline refused to let him on the plane after he showed off his Pinocchio penis tattoo to a few friends on the airplane. Tom Washington was traveling with a large group of friends who decided it would be cheeky, to say the least, to dress up like female cabin crew. Now, there were 23 of them and all together, and they met at the East Midlands Airport in the UK and said, we got up in the early hours to do makeup and hair like any presentable woman, he said, haha. He said, I got up, but because my jacket was too tight, it exposed my chest, which I had covered with a bra. I then proceeded to help the cabin staff with the talk using a sex toy. There were some old men on the plane as well, and they were having a laugh. Now, the lads mentioned I had a tattoo of Pinocchio, which I showed them. I'm at that point where the manager took the passport, and his friends managed to raise enough for him to get on an airline for their Spanish vacation. Now, I kind of laughed at this to begin with, Ty, but then I thought about the wider implications of, it's funny if someone's got a Pinocchio tattoo around their penis, but when you actually start to show that in public, you have to kind of consider who else is around, because there are going to be kids on the plane, there are going to be women on the plane, there are going to be people that really kind of don't want to see that. I mean, it's one thing to do that in a gay bar and, stick your willy in someone's beer and say, hey, Pinocchio drinks through his nose, but is this kind of acceptable in kind of like public, in public?
It's really not. No. Actually, do you know what? In a bar, I wouldn't want to see it, to be honest, even though it would be adults only. I'd be kind of like, no, thank you, put that away. But no, in public, I mean, have I become old? I don't know, but no, you're right. I mean, there are kids maybe around and women, and it's indecent exposure, isn't it? I would not be, no, that would freak, just thinking about that, actually, sitting here makes me uncomfortable. So to see it would make me uncomfortable, and I'm a single man.
Right.
No, I don't think that's acceptable at all, so I'm not really surprised by the reaction of the manager and maybe people around. And the thought of a child maybe seeing that really makes me feel a little bit sick. So, yeah, I think that the reaction is not overstated. And when does it become, because it's a tattoo, it's funny, and because it's Pinocchio, it's funny. Do you know what I mean? That's like, so what, if a paedophile has a tattoo of a Disney character tattooed on him, it would be okay, it would be more acceptable. Not that we're calling him a paedophile, but do you know what I mean? It makes it more acceptable because it's a cartoon character. I think that's really cool.
I have to say, I have no problem with them dressing up as air hostesses. I think that's hilarious. In the LGBTQ community, the LGBTQ A, B, C, D, E, F, G community, it's kind of, we've always kind of dressed up as one thing or another. They do it at Halloween. If you're going on holiday and you want to have a good time, who cares as long as it's not kind of like, too garish.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to go on the plane dressed as a Nazi because I think people would be worried and offended by that.
Not acceptable.
And I think that whilst we should always have freedom, that there should be some limitations to that freedom, because I mean, as a Jew for Jesus, I would be kind of offended if I was sitting next to someone dressed as a Nazi on the plane. I mean, it would be a bit, you know what I mean? It's that there has to be some limitation in society. Let's face it.
Absolutely, but I think, I mean, I'm not a Jew and I would be offended to be sat next to, even if, well, I'm gay, I suppose, but I mean, I think most people on the planet who are reasonable, regardless of religion, colour or creed, would be offended sat next to somebody dressed as a Nazi. But I mean, drag's not just as also, I mean, the gay community or the LGBTI community can't just claim drag either. Do you know what I mean? I mean, men have been dragging up, straight, I mean, for acting purposes, the Greeks or whatever, for thousands of years have been dragging up. So, I mean, that's perfectly acceptable and it's a good laugh and whatever.
Right.
But that's fine. But to then, expose yourself and call it humour, no, that's not humour, is it? I mean, I'm sure in the spirit for all the things, people, I'm not saying he did that with any kind of malicious intent at all.
I don't think he did. No.
Because we all get, people get carried away and they've had a drink or they get excited and think, oh, that'll be a laugh. And as you and I have said on other shows when we've spoke to Will before and, it's comedy, you say things and you come out with a comedy line and think, is this going to be funny? And the only way you find out is by saying it and, it either goes down well or it doesn't. So obviously, you take that chance. But there's a difference, I mean, that shall I expose myself in public and see if that's funny? No.
No, no, definitely
not. Particularly in that, and as you say, you're quite right, in that situation where there could be young people present. I mean, women, you know what I mean? I mean, you're adults, you've seen a penis before, I'm assuming. But even so, not that
I've
it makes
never
it acceptable,
seen one.
but what?
Never.
Well, that's because usually they're biting the pillow. But anyway, it's kind of. I know I butched you up there. Which is, take it, dear. Oh, you've said that before. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, from that point of view, adults, even though it would make me very uncomfortable, and I'm not saying that, but I'm just making women equal. That they're capable of dealing with things as adults. But the point for me that you made initially, what would really concern me is the fact that children might be around. And
absolutely.
A child can't, none of us can unsee something, but a child can't unsee something like that. And at a young age, that's damaging on any level, that's damaging. And
absolutely.
It's not something you should see. And because of that caricature, it could be more damaging because then, they're always going to associate it. Possibly from a psychological level, I'm getting into my counselling now, but from a psychological level, that could be then always associated with something throughout their childhood that they can't remove as well, So, yeah,
totally.
Not good.
And I think that some would feel that this makes us prudish, but I mean, we're far from prudish. I mean, you only have to see our shows back in the 90s and 80s to know that. But I think that. But there is a fine line between, and we've said this so many times on the show, between what is funny and acceptable and what isn't. And I think that you will establish that for yourself,
Absolutely, and also this is a question maybe to ask the boys when they're or the guys when they're on as well. One is partner when they're on as well. What they would think, being fathers, being parents, what they would think in that situation.
Exactly.
Because you and I are not parents, but clearly both of us are uncomfortable about that possibility.
Don't say that live that I'm not a parent. The IRS thinks I have 4 dependents. You've seen my 4. You've seen my 4 children.
I'm sorry. Yes, but there are plenty of people call me mother as well. They're trying to persuade me. But
absolutely, but you can't claim them as dependents, Ty. Unfortunately.
No, they're all too bloody old, dear. Sadly. But
absolutely.
So, but it is, but you're right. Yeah, those situations are. I mean, and also the thing he needs to consider as well is he could very easily find himself on a sex offenders register for something so innocent.
When young people text images of themselves naked or their genitalia to one another, if they are under a certain age in certain states, they can be considered as distributing child pornography, even though it's of themselves, because the law hasn't caught up with technology. So one does have to be really careful. But I'm mindful of the time, and I know you have something to bring for us today, Ty. What jumped out at you recently as something being noteworthy?
It was just the thing. Everything's going on at the moment, changing in the world, and it was something that Charlize Theron, obviously, bless her, she's everywhere, isn't she? But it was this I just thought I'd bring from the newspapers, talking about changes in the world. And the United Nations International Labour Organization has stated that women globally earn only 77% of the amount paid to men around the world. This is a figure that's improved, by only 3% margin in the past 20 years. So by that reckoning, it'll be another 70 years before women catch up to men on equal pay scale, which is a bit scary if you think about it.
But I thought in the UK that women will legally had to be paid the same as men, or is that not the case?
Well, this is the thing. You see, they keep talking about this the glass. What is it? The glass ceiling.
Right.
But it's not. The point is, by the equal pay works out by what's the word I'm looking for? The title. But in actual fact, it's still to catch up. But people in the mainstay jobs, in jobs like you or I, it's still to catch up. There are a lot of jobs below that still to catch up.
Absolutely.
And this is also, but this is the thing, that was also to be brought up by recently, in I think was it the Golden Globes. Meryl Streep gave a one-woman standing ovation to Patricia Arquette, who made the big speech about equal pay in Hollywood, which isn't going on now, still isn't going on. To the women in Hollywood, the guys are still, millions and millions of dollars ahead of the women in the box office. Now, the argument there is that it's the guys, it's the big box office, the big budget movies are the big action movies, like Fast and Furious 7 at the minute has just smashed all box office records, etc., etc. But that argument's kind of fallen apart with women like Meryl Streep. Well, Meryl Streep could be one of them, but
right.
Women like Sandra Bullock and Charlize Theron herself are now making these big, massive blockbuster movies. I went to see Mad Max, in fact, today myself, and she's definitely up there. But of course, people like Sigourney Weaver, who was the massive trailblazer herself with the incredible Ripley from the Alien saga. But Charlize Theron now was saying a couple of weeks ago she basically demanded equal pay with Chris Hemsworth for the sequel to Snow White called The Huntsman, and she demanded equal pay. And she'd said to be fair to the studio, I got no resistance. They acquiesced straight away and gave her equal pay. So basically, she's saying maybe we should all just put our foot down and demand equal pay, which is fine if you're Charlize Theron. But my argument is, well, Jane Doe maybe in the background doesn't have quite the same pull, working at the checkout at your local Walmart. But what scared me about that basically is that 77% of the amount paid to men around the world. So it's going to take that 20 years. So that's a huge
wow.
differential. It's a bit scary.
I mean, I remember when I lived in the UK that they instituted some law that a man could not be paid more than a woman doing the same job, but they still managed to get around that with titles and things like that. But I think the entertainment industry has always been a funny one. Some of the movies that I've worked on, whether I've had a speaking role or a non-speaking role, you get so much less than the big star, and I think that most people would kind of accept that. But I've kind of had that reversed as well. When I've been in kind of even smaller productions and I've been the biggest name in it, and I've been getting the best pay. So you can obviously imagine how much of a small production that is. But when the supporting cast are only getting, $50 a day, and I'm getting considerably more, I think it's unfortunate, but sometimes your name carries a lot more towards how much you're going to be paid than actually how good you are. Because I think some people in Hollywood, I see their acting and I think, you're not even as good as me. And that's not me, blowing smoke up my own AWS, but there are some actors out there that are only actors because of who they're related to or what their name is. And that's what enables them to command such a high salary. Do you know who my mother is? Or do you know who my father is? Let's not get into the do you know who my mother is conversation, but I'm sure you get exactly what I mean. And I think that it's not about talent anymore. It's actually a lot about who you know and who you're related to.
Absolutely. Well, of course, but totally. But the thing that the man-woman thing. I mean, you know that yourself. It wasn't that long ago. Who was it? Well, it was. Well, Patricia Arquette did the Golden Globe speech about it's time that we were all paid the same. But it's been going on for quite a while. I mean, it was even a couple of years ago. It was raised. The issue was raised by I think it's Sandra Bullock. Correct me if I'm wrong, people out there. You can always call in.
What is the number, Tyhe, for people to call on? The number is 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. If you want to chime on this or any of our subjects, or indeed if you want to speak to our guests for part 2. So sorry, Tyhe, back to you. Sorry for putting you on the spot there.
I know I was in the chat room. I could, if I'd been smooth there, I could have just flicked to the radio studio page, but I wasn't smooth enough. So thanks for that. But yeah, so I think it was anyway. But don't worry, you'll pay.
I'm sure.
I think it was. It's in the book. I think it was her that pointed that out, and it's still going on. Which is. But when you think about now, if these women though in Hollywood who are really, and you're talking about if women of power in that sense, in entertainment, with that kind of pull, still don't have that kind of voice strong enough to say, if you don't pay me the same as him, I'm off. Where does that power come from? I mean, what chance does Jane Smith at Walmart stand? What chance does she stand when Sandra Bullock can't stand up and say, I want the same as Bruce Willis, I mean, it's scary in that comparison. When you compare it in that level, when Sandra Bullock is equally, as talented as Bruce Willis or whoever you want to mention. It's just that his name springs to mind. These women are who are consummate professionals, superb actors in their own right, bring millions to the box office. The reason they're not in massive blockbuster action movies is because I'm sure they don't get offered them that much. I mean, Sandra Bullock has made them. Obviously, Sigourney Weaver, as I mentioned, was the trailblazer as far as I'm concerned with Ripley. And Charlize Theron now, has been for a long time, has been following in her footsteps. And others, please, again, phone in and correct me again. I mean, there are others, of course, there are. At this moment,
absolutely
not flying into my head because I'm winging it.
I think Hollywood has been a closed shop for so long about lots of things, and this is why I was actually talking to somebody yesterday. They're talking about they're remaking The Craft, which was a really good movie. I don't know if you liked it or saw it or whatever, but why? You're like me. You're a writer. You're an actor. You're a singer. You've got multiple strings to your bow. It must piss you off as much as it does me to see that all they do is remake old stuff. What about giving new writers like you and me a chance and making things that are new and are individual and are not like anything else that have been before, rather than dredging up these old chestnuts of things that they're just wanting to remake. I mean, some remakes are really good, but let's face it, some things have been done to death. I mean, Terminator has been done more times than anything else. I mean, I like Terminator. I like the ideology, but surely there's going to come a point where there's nothing more they can do with it.
Well, I mean, I saw the trailer today for Terminator. I've forgotten the title of it. There you go. But which looks fabulous. But yeah, it's much the same. Although, having said that, I went to see Mad Max today, the remake. Well, the movie Fury Road, and basically, from what I could see, Tom Hardy looking very fine, and he's now divorced. Told him to give me a call. But as what I could see, it was Charlize Theron. Really, it wasn't Mad Max. It was Charlize Theron. He wasn't in it. I mean, I'm not really sure what the point of him being in it was. But a lot of them now, I mean, the argument would be, if people would say to us, well, we should be pushing ourselves more. But a lot of the remakes, I think, are people in power coming to make, things they loved. Because Poltergeist is just coming back now, isn't it? And I have to say, I've seen the trailer.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, but I've seen the trailers. They've stayed true to the original, and it looks amazing. Other things I've seen as reduxes, and they've been they've been just dreadful.
Some of the nit sucks in hell.
That was Exorcist. Anyway, but
right.
but then, you know, some of the new things, you read the book and then you see the movie, and they've destroyed the book. So I don't know whether I would let anybody near my book, to be honest, because I don't think they would have the guts to do with it what they would need to do. And I don't know many actors who would be prepared to play Riker, my main anti-hero. So anyway, there we go. But enough of this nonsense. Let's bring our guests on.
Enough indeed. Let's bring our guests. They're in the virtual green room now, enjoying the virtual chocolate that we left for them. Ever watch the show My Two Dads? Well, we've got one better than that for you today. Juan and Patrick Duffy. They're not the one from Dallas. Live in Florida and are married with 4 children that are biologically theirs. Yes, they are married to each other and are unapologetically raising their children together. Shock horror. Well, no, not so much on this show. Now, I recently found out about them on Facebook and was so impressed by their outlook and love for each other and their children that Tyhe and I invited them on to the show to find out a little bit more. So for the first time on Xandermonium, let's welcome Juan and Patrick, Mr. and Mr. Duffy. Welcome to the show, guys. How's it going?
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
We're in separate phones.
Well. So. Sorry, you're on separate phones. Right. Okay,
yes.
No problem.
Oh, my God.
Well, you're live with Xander and Tyhe on Xandermonium. Now, as I alluded to a little in the introduction to the segment, you're both married to each other, and you're both guys, and you have 4 kids. Now, what kind of reactions has that brought you in your everyday life?
Okay. Our reaction? I don't know. It didn't happen overnight, so it's like you know, it's a process. So yeah, we started
Absolutely.
by. It was. I think the biggest reaction we had was when we found out that we were having triplets. That was something that we didn't expect.
Wow.
And it was a little bit crazy, but can you hear the background?
I can hear them in the background. I mean, one child would be wonderful, and I'm sure 4 is fabulous. But where the hell do you find the energy, guys? I mean, it's like.
Well, I think, you know, having 1 child is hard, and having 2 is hard, and 4 is hard. It's just hard in a different level. It's just you just find out ways to do things and ways to adapt. So we really don't know anything different. So for us, it's kind of just our normal, what it's like having children, even though, you know, it's 4 and we know that's not normal. And we go out, people look at us and always ask, or kind of look for the female, like, where's the mommy? Why are these guys out? You know, these children have no mommy. So where is she? And so we get a lot of reaction from people and faces and looks, and nothing bad or, you know, derogatory or anything like that, but just the inquisitive looks that we see a lot, or sometimes people even have the nerve to come up to us and ask us about, like, where the mommy is, or you know, are we the parents, or stuff like that.
I mean, I'm terrible. I would have to say, you know, if I were one of you, I would have to say, I'm the mommy. You know, I would have to give that kind of reaction, just for shock value.
Actually, we did that. Sometimes we get bored and then we like to play around.
Yeah,
one day we were sitting at the restaurant with 3 of the kids, and this lady came and said, "Where's the mommy?" And Patrick said, "Oh, here he is." And he pointed at me, and the lady looked at me.
The one with the mustache is the mommy.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, maybe he has some Turkish in you. You know, you never know.
Yeah, and she said, "But how's that possible?" And Patrick said, "Well, it's 2014." And she left.
Absolutely. I want to pick up on something you said, Patrick, because you used the word normal. Now, for me, what is normal has always been what is right for the individual. That's your norm. That's your normality. Now, obviously, being married to a guy and raising children is different from what society would consider a norm. What do you feel that kind of being open and honest about all of this is actually doing for you? Because I'm in total agreement with you, and that's what kind of attracted me to having you on the show. But do you kind of feel, what do you feel comes from this, unapologetic, just getting on with your life?
I think I kind of can relate to what you were saying when you were talking earlier, just that I've always kind of been true to myself and always kind of just, been comfortable in my own skin for the most part. And I think that just having these children and, it's been a great experience for us, but I think it's also an incredible experience for everybody else who can see us and who can kind of realize that, that men can raise babies. You don't need to have a female. I think for a long period of time, there's always seemed to have been two women that have raised children, but you don't always see two men that raise children. So I think, it's I don't know, Juan, what do you think when we,
Well,
Juan?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything. I think it's shocking for some people, but it's not shocking for others.
No.
The best thing for us when we are facing society, when we are outside with the kids, is that we always find those moments as some teaching and some learning opportunities, for other people and for us. We have to say that most of the time we have really good reactions, but there are moments that are, they are a little bit more special. Some people usually, some people don't know how to react, and then you have those that react in a way that are overly friendly. As soon as they see you, they say, "Oh, I have a gay friend, and all my best friends are gays." Trying to relate to you and trying to be friends. And I think it's not necessary. We don't expect that everybody loves us or want to be like us.
No.
But we know what it is coming from, and there's a lot of people that just turn around and they don't even look at us, and you can see that the gesture of disgust in their faces, but they will never tell you anything. They just turn around and leave, and that's okay. We don't judge anybody.
They don't pay our bills.
Hi, it's Tyhe here, by the way. I'm just diving in because you can't shut Xander up. Now, Juan, I'm going to speak as slowly as I can, just because I know my accent's really strange.
Yes.
So, and I'm in Scotland, by the way, in the UK, so I'm not even in the States. But what I was going to ask you guys, because you're in Florida, is that right?
Yes, in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah. So in Tampa, I love Florida, but the last time I was and I'm not saying that because you're there, I genuinely love Florida. Florida and New York are the two places I tend to kind of be in when I'm in the States, but I love Florida. But the last time I was there, the problem, they were really behind in with the changing, with the laws changing, with gay rights, etc. So I don't know where you are right now, to be honest. But I just wondered how people are with. I mean, we know that the adults are having problems with adults, but how are people with the kids? How do people treat the kids, when they find out that they have two gay dads? Because we know that it makes no difference who the parents are as long as they're treated with love. But how are the people around the kids?
I think that everyone's been incredibly receptive. When Juan and I first got together, we lived in Tampa, downtown, which was a little more the city, and when we found out we were having 3 more kids, we moved out kind of into the country, and I was a little concerned because as we would pull into the neighborhood, we were looking at houses, there would be, a pickup truck in every driveway, and there would be people that were really working class, like farmers and people like that, and I really thought, oh my gosh, we're going to move into a home where we're going to have, our neighbors are going to be in pickup trucks and the good old boys, and we moved in here and come to find out that we had 2 same-sex couples in the same community as us. our neighbors who were have been so receptive and friendly. The first day we moved in, one of the neighbors brought us over some donuts and was welcoming us, and everybody has been so receptive and welcoming to us and the children. We walk them, we get them out a lot. They're out a lot, so they always people will stop and be really nice and kind to them, and we haven't really run into any problems yet. I mean, they're still very small. They're only 2 and 3, so maybe when they get older and they can start talking, it might be a little different story, but we'll see.
But by then, of course, I mean, the LGBTI community by then will have taken over the world, obviously, and we will have destroyed the church and heterosexual marriage, so it won't be a problem.
I know
exactly. That's right.
And the fabric of society, Tyhe, because that's our aim as gay people to ensure that societal fabric is torn in two, as it were. But I want to talk to you a little bit about.
People never ruin fabric.
No, exactly. You see, that isn't. I always think that's the worst example ever for people to use to say that this is what gays and gay marriage is doing. But I want to talk to you a little bit about gay marriage right now. Doesn't it irk you a little that because to me, like if I'd got an invite in the mail saying, "Hey, Xander, this is Juan and Patrick, and we're getting married. Would you like to come to the wedding?" I'd be like on the plane yesterday, and I would be saying, I'm going to a gay wedding. I'm going to a gay wedding. Do you think in the future we'll get to the point where society just stops referring to it as gay marriage and just calls it, like we do on this show, marriage?
Absolutely. I think that's going to change. And actually, I have a very interesting experience because, when I was planning our wedding, I was always thinking about my gay wedding. But I remember when we stand up in front of the aisle to get married and we saw all the people sitting and everybody was dressed up for our wedding, and most of the guests were not gay. And they were all looking at us when we were about to walk in, and then I feel, this is just a wedding. This is nothing special or different than a regular wedding. I am freaking getting married, and it shocked me because I always saw this as kind of son of fantasy, but never really, hit me that way. And then I realized, we don't need to talk about gay wedding anymore because there's no difference.
I think eventually someday, but it's going to be many, many, many years, and I don't think I'll be around to see that when that will happen. But I think it's similar to just like civil rights, and we still have issues and things come up now in 2014 and civil rights from the 60s and all of the things that have changed in the world. We're going to continue to evolve, and people are going to continue to accept other people, but it's going to be a long time, so I think we're still going to, in my lifetime, I'm sure I'll be going to a lot of gay weddings, and they'll be referred to gay weddings, or, for us, it's like, Juan's Latino, and he's from Argentina, and I'm from the United States, and we're like, a biracial gay couple with 4 kids, and it's, so we have a lot of stereotypes or different things that bring us together, but it doesn't change, our inside.
But Patrick, it might change. It might not take that long, to say. I mean, I'm 48. Obviously, I have to say this publicly on the show, on Xandermonium. Xander is younger than me. Okay, I have to say that. Contractually, I have to say that.
At least 10 years.
At least 10 years, yeah. Right. But I'm 48, Patrick, and I came out when I was 15, and I came out pre-AIDS. Before everything hit the fan, and trust me, I never ever thought that I would ever be able to walk down the street hand in hand with my partner, let alone forget civil partnerships or marriage. Never ever thought I would live to see this. So
I'm 40. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So you never know.
I'm 45.
I'm just right. So you never know. We could all be. Your kids could be pushing us all down the promenade at some point, and just having marriage, So it's amazing.
Absolutely,
things are changing so quickly.
Incredibly,
we just need to be able to keep up, So you never know.
No, I want to come back a little bit to your marriage. Now, you obviously didn't have pizza at your wedding. and no one refused to bake your cake, and you didn't have to sue the minister to actually get them to do that. Now, whilst I feel it's abhorrent when companies say, I'm not going to do this because you're gay. What?
That just sounds like a big fail. You didn't have to sue anybody or annoy anybody. I mean, really, we're trying, boys.
Whilst I find it abhorrent when companies say, I'm not going to do this because you're gay, and I'm not going to do that because you're gay, how do you feel about the trend of people that want to sue everybody for not providing a service? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing for the gay community? Because like most of us, if someone refused to provide us with a service, we'd just go and find someone that did want to take our money.
Exactly.
I'm interested how you feel about that.
I don't think, I mean, first, I don't want to, some company that don't want to make my cake to actually bake my cake, because probably want to put some poison or something in it. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I think any business can, decide if they want to serve you or not, and we can also decide what kind of buildings we can choose. We are not obligated to pick any, a specific business. So I think it's a little bit too much to be suing people for not serving you.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I guess there is a little bit more deepness on that, because some business can use, especially when they're trying to legislate on that, and they can actually, if they private you of some basic needs like health or things that you really need, that will be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we did a show a few weeks ago that went into depth on this and the Religious Freedom Act and stuff. And one of the biggest fallacies about all of this is that a doctor could say, I'm not going to treat you because you're gay. Now that is actually the Hippocratic Oath covers the fact that they're not allowed to refuse anybody. And I kind of preempted all of this with saying that I find it abhorrent. But I don't like that when people generalize about gay people, that we're all going to sue you if you don't serve us, and we were all going to, get upset and, urinate on your lawn and whatever. Because let's face it, even though we are a gay community, we're all still, different. We don't all have to agree. And if things are ever going to get better, we're all going to have to change a little bit. I'm totally firm on lots of things, but some things I feel like I have to have some give on. I really do.
Yeah, I think that we should not force business to serve us, because it's not a good thing. Actually, when we were planning our wedding, I make sure to tell all my vendors up front that we were gay, and if they don't feel comfortable, to let us know, so we can go and find some, business that they feel comfortable, because I believe we are going to get better service if we go with people that want to serve us and not trying to push somebody,
And for me, though, I think I would rather just avoid a pizza parlor or a bakery and just walk away and be like, okay, I'll find somewhere else, then draw attention to it and give them that leverage or give them that power that it's about. It's like, okay, you don't want to treat me good, that's fine. You're ugly, I don't want you touching my cake anyway.
Yeah.
So
and didn't it make
that
you
attention
think,
that we're
Go on, sorry.
No, it's the attention and the power that we're giving them to bring this to national attention by doing things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what self-respecting homosexual would want to serve pizza at a wedding? I mean, come on, dear, please.
Hello, exactly.
So I want to know a bit more about the social media side of things. Like, I get the impression that Juan kind of does most of the social media stuff, and in looking at stuff for the show, I saw this video of you on Google, Juan, and I couldn't stop laughing. And you'd done this with a song in the background, and the kids were in it and stuff too. Now, what kind of reactions have you had on social media? Because one of my other friends followed you, and he shared something that you'd put on, and that's what kind of drew me to your page. Do you in general, do you get a good reaction on social media, or is it very mixed?
Absolutely.
Good.
We have this page on Facebook with about 5,000 followers, and and for probably about 2 years now, and I can count with my fingers how many times we have comments that were negative. They're very, I would say less than 1%. And we receive a lot of great comments and a lot of support, and it's a wonderful thing, social media, because it allows me as a father to be able to express myself and to share my journey with other people, and everything started very small. We just opened this page to show our people that we didn't know the baby's pictures, and then it started growing and growing. And now we get a lot of opportunities to meet other people, to travel, even to get some job opportunity because of the page. And it's a great thing. It's a very positive way of sharing, our life and showing a lot of people, educating a lot of people about gay families. And they can see that there's nothing weird about us as a family. We don't have a dungeon in the in the house.
You don't?
We don't.
Oh no.
We have to make it into a nursery.
I have to say, so, like I said, one of the things that really drew me to you is, now the media is always giving negative stereotypes about, gay people that have kids are obviously bringing them up to be gay, training them to be gay, and all of this unnecessary negative stuff. And for me, it just really shone that you were out there saying, hey, look, this is my family. This is my husband. We love each other. We have 4 beautiful kids, and we're no different to you and your wife, who are trying to do the same thing. And I think it's essential to challenge these negative stereotypes.
Sorry,
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say that we're dressed better.
Yeah, exactly. Is this partly why you started to do the social media stuff, to kind of counterbalance that negativity?
That wasn't the original intention. Our original intention actually was to somehow control the privacy of our. It's funny because they say, okay, the only way that we can control our privacy so people don't get all our personal information is just doing a public page instead of making friends. Because when you make friends, then they can see all your personal information.
Exactly.
So it started like that, but then I realized what a difference makes in other people, either people that don't know about gay families and they never knew anything, or people that are actually gay but they don't know that they can actually create their own families and they can have, a different kind of life, and it's amazing. It's very positive. It's a really positive thing. But you have to be careful. You have to be careful because it's very tempting to get involved on trying to get more attention, and then you have to be measuring how much you're showing and how much you really, how much are you exposing your family in a positive way, or it could be also a negative way.
Absolutely. I want to just give people the opportunity to call in if they have any questions for you. The number is 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. If you have a question for Juan or Patrick, feel free to give the call. We'll be watching the phone room. Now, I really want to ask Patrick on a totally unrelated topic. Has it affected you adversely having the same name as a famous person? And do people often think you're the guy from Dallas?
Yeah, I guess because that's been my whole life. I grew, so I don't know. It's funny because now that Dallas has been off for so long, people kind of forgot about him, but people who grew up in the 70s or 80s particularly recognize my name quite oftenly and will poke fun at it and stuff like that. So it's a funny little thing, yeah.
Well, now thanks to Xandermonium, Patrick.
Yes, exactly. But when I first saw it, and I thought, Patrick Duffy is gay, that hot guy from Dallas.
Bobby Ewing, yeah.
Yeah. the man from Atlantis is gay, and he's married with 4 kids living in Florida.
Correct.
I want to talk a little bit about your. Yeah, absolutely. Oprah next week. One of Patrick. Oh, I'm sorry. It was the other Patrick Ewing, the Patrick Duffy we were looking for.
Exactly.
Now I want to talk a little bit about your wedding photos. I love your wedding photos. I'm not a stalker, honestly. It was just part of my research, and I saw them on your Facebook.
He totally is a stalker, by the way.
I am. I'm totally a stalker. I mean, I've got your phone numbers. Next time I'm in Florida, I'll be knocking at the door saying, "It's Uncle Xander here to see the kids." Talking of the kids, you think I'm joking? I love that you incorporated. You had pics with the kids in your wedding photos, and I thought that was just made it such a family occasion. Did that kind of come about organically, or did you decide that you definitely wanted them involved?
Oh, I don't think we didn't even need to talk about that. That was a common agreement from the beginning. One of the main reasons that we actually got married is because of the children. Because to be quite honest, at our age, we are not like dreaming. Oh, I want a white dress, wedding kind of thing. But for us, it was a very practical thing because we needed, to have some benefits for our children, some security for our family, and we also learned that it's important for our children to know that their parents are married because. That is a way that that we are accepted legally as a family in society, and that is a very important element for their life, not only for us.
Yeah.
So obviously, go ahead.
Yeah, they were. It was a little organic, but we knew they would definitely be in the wedding, and they came out in the middle of the end of the ceremony before they announced us husband, and before we had the kiss, they brought the family. So it was kind of just this moment of bringing everything together, our journey through surrogacy, our journey through our own personal relationship, Juan and I, the Florida allowing us to get married, because we could have gone to another state and gotten married, but we wanted to wait until we could get married in the state we live in. And in January, that became a realistic thing that could happen for us. So we decided in April that that's when we would do it. And at that moment when the children came down, it was kind of just everything coming together, spiritually, emotionally, legally, everything all in one moment. So there was no question that they would be a part of it or be there. It was just how we were going to fit them into the service.
Right. Absolutely, and I think it's I'm a soppy old so but I think it was absolutely beautiful, and I loved looking at the pictures, and it kind of it just for me felt really wholesome and right,
It's not like the deviant gay people are getting married. Like, oh my! It's like, we're just. I think a lot of people are surprised by that because I think some people have a conception like these gay people, they're both going to be in pink tutus and they're going to have wigs on and they're going to be all flamboyant and feathers and streamers and all this stuff. And it's like, no, we're just two normal people that are just love each other and love our family and want to come together.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Go ahead.
No, Juan, go on. Sorry, go.
No, what I was saying, actually, the pastor who married us, which she came all the way from North Carolina to marry us, and she's not a gay pastor. She's just a regular pastor from the Presbyterian church that actually she followed us in our page, and that's how she offered to marry us. And she asked, "Do you want me to wear like a rainbow or something?" I said, "No, we say rainbow. We don't want to see any rainbow, please."
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's just not. We're just.
Yeah. No, but exactly.
We don't
but
feel like
saying that,
right, like we have a need flag, in order to be. We don't need that.
No, because you're two gay men who are getting married to each other because you love each other and your children. I don't have a flag, and can I just for everybody else who's listening tonight? But I've said this to Sandra before. I don't have a picture of James Dean in my house. I don't have a picture of Marilyn Monroe. I don't particularly like Julie Garland. Do you know what I mean? I don't have a copy of Wizard of Oz.
Heresy.
Oh,
I'm just disappointed, Ty, that I'm disappointed they didn't give out tutus and tiaras at the wedding. I mean, shouldn't that be the first thing that happens at a gay wedding? And have rainbow cake and pizza.
You know, I mean, it's a fun thing.
You know, I mean, the rainbow flag. The rainbow flag is appropriate for pride marches. Where else is it appropriate for? I mean, really, seriously. Yeah. I don't think it's appropriate anywhere else. It's just bizarre anywhere else. It's just weird to have it anywhere else. I mean, it's just
whether you guys
did you
realize
see ugly cakes with the rainbow colors in it? I mean, they're terrible, horrible.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, whether you guys kind of realize.
Yeah?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, whether you guys realize it or not, you have done and continue to do exactly what we do on this show every week. We're change agents, and we smash stereotypes because I think it's imperative for us to do that. I mean, not that we kind of we don't see ourselves as you know, these kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Feminist radicals.
Yeah, we're not radicals, but we are out. Thank you, Ty. We are out there trying to smash these stereotypes. There's too many drugs in the 80s, you see, and trying to make a difference. And you're doing that with what you're doing with your social media and in your life. And I really take, if I wore a hat, I would take it off to you. I really would. And I'm glad that you guys.
Thank you.
Are together and love each other and have lovely kids. And I meant what I said. Next time I'm in Florida, I will be knocking on your door seeing if you've got any wedding cake left over.
Listen, guys,
look for the house with the gay flag on it.
Yeah.
We'll be the house.
Castle.
And the pink mailbox.
If you have a rainbow bouncy castle, I'm coming.
Wow. Absolutely. Well, unfortunately, we have come to the end of our time together. I hope you definitely will come back and talk to us again, because I always feel like we only scratched the surface. But tell people, Juan, where they can tell them about your Facebook page and where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, I think that the main place to find us is in Facebook, and we have a page that is called it's facebook.com/2dads+4. 2dads+4 is 2DA.
It's like the number 2. Number 2 dads.
Yeah, number 2 dads plus the word +4, and I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not used to
Absolutely. Look at today's. Look at the page on Facebook for the Xandermonium radio show. All of their details is on there. Obviously, not where they bought their wedding cake or where they buy their tutus, but their social media stuff is definitely on there. But I really would like to thank you both for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, Juan and Patrick Duffy. Give your kids a big hug from us, and we look forward to speaking to you again. Keep on keeping on.
Definitely.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Take care, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
you.
you.
Lovely to speak to you both. Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was Juan and Patrick Duffy from 2 Dads and 4 Kids. I don't know about you, Ty, but I really enjoyed that. It was actually great.
That was really cool.
To smash that stereotype and actually to see how really, like everybody else, these people, that sounds terrible. The people we had on really were.
That was a really fun interview. It's with a normal family, ladies and gentlemen.
I know.
That's what a normal family sounds like.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a really nice interview.
I always come back to this about what normal is. Normal to me is what is right for you. You're not normal, dear. You're just heterosexual, I love when people say that. Oh, like normal families. Well, what is a normal family? These guys were a normal family.
Yeah, a normal family is healthy, loving people. That's what a normal family is.
Exactly. and it was a pleasure to talk to them.
Definitely.
Now, you're not here next
Definitely.
week, are you? You're having a week off, and
I am.
We have Tony taking your place next week. Tony's coming to co-host.
Very capable man.
Yes, absolutely. And we also have the fabulous, her name is not coming to me, Sarah Boyles, comedian Sarah Boyles.
Sarah, say hi for me.
Particular brand of humor. And she's going to come in part 2 and talk to us about what's been going on in her life and the world of Salem, not Massachusetts, Illinois.
Well, I've been following her on. Yeah, I've been following her on Facebook. She's been causing mayhem as usual. So.
Yeah, just for a change. I mean, that's our Sarah. So, what are we playing out with today, Ty?
I think let's give Elvira another go. Bless her.
Okay.
Elvira Stitz.
Right. Let me just find her. Got that already and queued up. Let me just adjust the volume because sometimes it comes out really loud from the Blog Talk server. So that's it for another episode of Xandermonium. I've been Xander Gibb.
And I've been Tyhe Egar. Good nighty.
And Ty will be back with us in 2 weeks' time, so make sure to tune in. Thanks to Juan and Patrick Duffy, and we wish them the very best for them and their family. And thanks mostly to you for listening and your continued support. And we're going to play out with All the Money by Elvira Stitz. Bye-bye. I love you all. Bye.
Bye.
The earth